I recently went to see John Mayer play at the Bridgestone Arena here in Nashville, Tennessee, and it was sweet. I would definitely recommend going to see the show. It was really, really well done, and there was no opening act. Sort of reminded me of the Where the Light Is DVD that he did in LA, where he had the multiple different sets of music. I really highly recommend the show. It was great. I wanted to talk about what makes John Mayer stand out regarding the way he uses the pentatonic and natural minor scales. Obviously, we all have access to these same notes, and it's really hard to have your own voice on the guitar, and it has to do a little bit with tendencies and influences, but also with habits and how you move from one scale to the next and when you do that and really why you do it. For some guitar players, it may be about just the ear. Their ear kind of guides them. Some players may approach it from a music theory perspective, and really the way I think John Mayer does it is fusing those two approaches together. So I think he does have an understanding of music theory, but also is a player by ear at heart, as most of us really are. But the question is, how do you sound unique when every single guitar player plays the same thing? We all kind of exist in some sort of tonality that is hard to break out of, and there are a couple different ways to identify points where you can make your own mark in a sound like that. The first is by using space. The second is by choosing choice notes that maybe aren't as traditional sounding, for lack of a better term. So avoiding the root or the fourth or fifth notes and instead replacing them with the ninth or sixth or flat five or any of those intervallic differences. But then also understanding when to do that and how often to do that before returning home to the nice that we all know and love. And the reason I got inspired to make this lesson is because John Mayer was taking an extended solo over the chord changes in Slow Dancing in a Burning Room, which, if you don't know those, it's C sharp minor 7 to A major add 9 to E major. So those are the three chords. So what I'm going to do is put on a loop of that chord progression and kind of talk through in and out of how John Mayer approaches this, because it was really evident and on display, and I got kind of an extended look because he took a long, maybe like 32 bar solo before he actually got to the regular solo of that song and back into the chorus. So it was very instructive. So just a couple little licks there to whet the appetite before we get too deep. The little motifs I was playing there, that is definitely a tendency of Mayer's to kind of harp on that major sixth sound. So with that final chord, E major, we have this C sharp. That's definitely a bit of a clash, but when it's in the context of C sharp minor, so you can see it actually appears in the studio recording solo, but the C sharp by itself adds a bit of kind of ominousness that is actually drawn from a happy place, which is a major sound. So it's a really interesting thing, and technically we're in the major pentatonic here, so we're looking at this from the key of E major. There it is. That is the major pentatonic note that we're talking about. So most guitar players may find the C sharp minor scale or the C sharp minor pentatonic scale and just be stuck in that spot. But John Mayer's version of a resolution is to bend this sixth up to a seventh and kind of have that very quick little move that he does there. And that is just his habit that he's formed over the years of playing guitar, and it sounds exactly like him. Because if you hear a guitar player just play, well, who the heck is that? We don't really know, but when you hear, you know that that is a John Mayer inspired lick. So pairing those two ideas, the theoretical side and the feel side, I think is an important way to kind of deconstruct this kind of guitar playing. So let's go a little bit further. Pop this loop back on and we'll keep going. So, a couple more little John Mayer tricks in there. The first and most notable one is the one I kind of harped on a couple times there, where we're moving up a half step from the minor pentatonic into the major pentatonic sound. If you're playing a C-sharp minor chord and you play D minor pentatonic, that makes no sense whatsoever. I don't necessarily know if John is thinking about this in the context of D minor pentatonic or if he just likes this position for this particular lick, but it is something that he does where he harps on this major third of the key. So in the C sharp natural minor scale, we have, there's the major third in the context of E. So what's going on here is instead of playing just the blues note, we have the major third of E. But he's getting to it in the same mechanical way that you would a blues phrase. So he's just doing the half step bend here, and he's taking advantage of this note, which is in the key of the C sharp natural minor scale. This note is as well, however, it just functions differently based on which chord is happening. So when he's harping on it and there's a C sharp minor going on, it's acting as the fifth of that chord, but then when it eventually resolves to the E major, it's the major third. So that's why it has that effect of, oh, this might not be the right note to play over this chord. Oh wait, it's definitely the right note. So I'll play that phrase again over the loop and you'll hear it go from wrong to very right. And that's another element to it, is to resolve that to, you know, a root, and resolve it to the root. Or he may resolve it to something else. A lot of different places to go from there, but the idea is what's most important in my opinion. Just the fact that there's a note right next door from the position that you're so very comfortable in, and fusing the different approaches of, I'm going to play this very traditional minor pentatonic lick, but actually play it a half step up, so I'm making that phrase function as something completely different. So it feels like something that we're traditionally used to hearing, but its sound is very John Mayer and very unique and very his own style and voice that has influenced so many people. So that is the main point. That is what I gathered from his extended solo on Slow Dancing in a Burning Room. It's just, he takes little things that we're all very comfortable with and familiar with and just manipulates them a little bit in order to achieve a sound that is truly vocal. He's one of the best kind of vocal guitar players that I've heard. He can run blues licks with the best of them as far as the speed stuff goes, but just really the finger tone and the note choices are what stand out to me. So John Mayer is really good at guitar, and I don't think you need me to tell you that, but I hope you enjoyed this lesson, and I'll see you guys next time. But until then, keep shredding.